Alright, so a quick recap to the Star Wars film Phantom Menace. The 7th Star Wars film is coming out soon, so I'll get people caught up. People don't have time to watch the whole thing. It's just a rough outline of what it is. Right, so here we go. So opening titles appear, and they're in space and everything. And they're going, right, it's a fallout between the Trade Federation and the Galactic Republic over trade taxation. So the Trade Federation set up a blockade around Naboo. And they sent two Jedis, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, to send it out. They sent them as peace ambassadors. The Federation allowed these two peace ambassadors to come to the Galactic Republic. And the peace ambassadors turned out to be Jedis. And I'm like, oh, why'd you let them in there for? And I go, I didn't know they were Jedis, did I? Anyway, the Jedis arrive, and Darth Sidious says, right, kill the Jedis. By the way, invade Naboo while you're at it. And they send droids to kill the Jedis. The Jedis wipe them out, and they escape in pods to Naboo. I meet this Gangan called Jar Jar Binks. I'm like, who's this annoying guy? And then Jar Jar Binks is like, look mate, I know someone where we can hide. And I go, yeah, this guy's alright. Anyway, Jar Jar Binks does a red arrow dive into some water, and they go to some underwater city. They try and persuade some Gangan, he's like the leader, the boss, his name's Boss Naz, to help the Naboo people. And then Boss Naz says, nah, they're knobs, nah, I don't want to help them out now. And the Jedi's go, how do we get there then? And he says, go through the core. And then Qui-Gon's like, can we take Jar Jar Binks? And Boss Naz is like, I wanted to kill him, but alright, fine. So the Jedi's rescue Queen Amidala, who's played by Natalie Portman, and they say, right, we need to go to Coruscant, and they kill some more drones. And they go to the Queen's starship, and they get through the blockade. But when they get through the blockade, the hyperdrive's knackered, and they go, right, we need to fix the hyperdrive, and there's no quick fits around. So what do we do? Let's go Tatooine. All right, go Tatooine. Qui-Gon Jinn, Jar Jar Binks, Padme, and R2-D2 go to this shop, and they see some guy with he's blue, and he's like flying with wings. I think his name's Watu. And they say, you got an hyperdrive? And he goes, yeah, I got loads. And he goes, you need to pay for that. And they say, oh, I ain't got any money. Well, you can't have the hyperdrive then. And they go, oh. And there's a little 9-year-old boy called Anakin there, and he calls Padme an angel. And Padme's like, oh, he's sound, I like this guy. Anyway, he saves Jar Jar from getting his head kicked in. And then Jar Jar and Qui-Gon are like, I like this Anakin, he's a sound guy, I like him. And then there's a sandstorm, and Anakin goes, right, you can come in my gaff. And then they're all like, yeah, this guy's great, I like this guy, he's a sound guy. They get in there and they meet Anakin's old ma. And Qui-Gon's like, right, we don't have any money for an hyperdrive. And then Anakin's like, I could pod race for it, I could win the race and use the prize money and get you an old hyperdrive. And his ma's like, you can't do that, just don't, you can't, no. And then Anakin's like, come on. And his ma's like, alright, fine. So Qui-Gon blood tests this Anakin guy and goes, he could be a Jedi, the Force is strong in him. And his ma's like, yeah, I was thinking that. Qui-Gon says to the shop owner, right, if Anakin wins this race, him and his arm are free. And if he loses, you get my ship. And the shop owner says, I can't really free both of them, mate, sorry. And then Qui-Gon's like, what about just Anakin? And the shop owner goes, yeah, alright, fine. So Anakin's ship gets tampered with. He gets shot at by some people on top of a hill. But he still wins. And then and then Anakin's free now. Qui-Gon says, you're free now. And Anakin's like, yeah, get in, result, quality. What about me on more? And then Qui-Gon's like, I'm sorry, mate, I tried. And so Anakin said to his old ma, oh, we'll ever see you again. And his mom's like, yeah, of course you will. Now go off and fulfill your destiny or something. And so they go to get on the ship, and then some guy appears with red paint, and they go, who's this? It's not Sting, it's Darth Maul. And they have a bit of a scrap, and then they all get on the ship. Not Darth Maul doesn't get on the ship. Anyway, Qui-Gon says to Obi-Wan, this is Anakin, he's a geezer. So they go to Coruscant, and they go to the Senate, so the Queen can plead with Chancellor Valorum when she's in the Galactic Senate. So Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon go to the Jedi Council and say, this Darth Maul guy, he might be an old Sith Lord, might be dangerous him. Oh yeah, by the way, can Anakin be tested to be a Jedi? And they're like, well, let's meet him, we'll give him a go. Anyway, the Senate meet, and this Senator Palpatine says to the Queen Amidala, says, oh, the Senate have been paid off by the Trade Federation, And by the way, look at the Chancellor. He's shit. Look at him. He's like Nick Clegg. Can't get anything done. Vote, vote for no confidence. And she says, yeah, all right. So she votes for no confidence. Then the Jedi meet Anakin, the Jedi Council, and they say, "Are you afraid?" And he goes, "No, mate, I'm fine. I'm all right. Don't get car sick." And then they go, "No, no. I mean, like, are you afraid? About your old ma? You never see her again." And Anakin's like, "Yeah, it does worry me a bit, to be honest with you, mate." And then he goes, "Well, don't. You can't have that. Fear turns to anger. Anger turns to suffering. It's bad. It's bad." So they got their doubts about Anakin. Palpatine gets nominated to run for Chancellor, and the Queen says, "Right, I'm going back to Naboo." The Jedi Council say, "Anakin can't be a Jedi. He's too old." And Qui-Gon, "You can't have two apprentices, mate." And Qui-Gon says, "Right, this Obi-Wan, he's ready. He's all right. Anakin, he'll be my old apprentice now." And the Jedi's are like, "Right, mate. We'll come back to this later. Got other stuff to worry about. Now you escort Queen Amidala back to Naboo. Find their attacker." So they go to Naboo, and they're trying to get these Gangans we saw earlier in the film. They try and get them to help them out. And they meet this Boss Nass again, and Boss Nass is reluctant to help them out, help out the people of Naboo. And then Padme says, "Right, this woman here is pretending to be the Queen. I know she had a lot of costume changes, but she's not the Queen. I'm the Queen. It's not the greatest. She's my decoy. So I don't get killed. It's not the greatest idea. We're always in the same place together. Doesn't matter. But she's my decoy. Can you help the trade? Can you help us? Fight the Trade Federation?" And Boss Nass is like, "Yeah, all right, fine." So the two armies start fighting, and the Gangers drop some shield because they see these drones, and there's like, "Oh, there's loads of them. What do we do?" And the Jedi's with Queen Amidala, and some people try to get into the palace and get the Viceroy. And get in the palace, they kill a load of drones. Anyway, spaceships fighting off in space. The Federation versus the Galactic Republic. It's all kicking off. The Jedi see Darth Maul. They start fighting. Queen and the soldiers battle some droids. Anakin hides in the ship, starts shooting stuff, and then takes off. Anakin battles in space. Queen and the guards start battling droids. They're like, "Oh, take that, have it, take it." Just killing them. And then like some big battlefield in Naboo. The drones, they destroy the shield. As they're getting closer, they're starting to attack now. Starting to attack them now. Darth Maul, he sort of traps Qui-Gon in some like force fields, some red force fields, and like Obi-Wan's like behind these force fields, going, "What are these? What do I do now?" The Federation trap the Queen and the guards. It's all going wrong. The force field comes down, and now Qui-Gon battles Darth Maul, and Obi-Wan gets trapped in the force fields. Oh no! Anyway, Darth Maul he kills Qui-Gon. And Obi-Wan's like, "No! Right, we got beef now, Darth Maul." The Queen and the guards, they start killing people, and the Queen gets the Viceroy. Obi-Wan and Darth Maul battle. Anakin and all that destroy the Federation ships, and Jar Jar Binks and the Gangan army win their battle. Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul. Qui-Gon dies in Obi-Wan's arms. The Queen and all that capture the Viceroy. Chancellor Palpatine gets elected, looks a bit shifty. Obi-Wan becomes a Jedi. He says, "Yoda, can I train Anakin now?" And everyone watches Qui-Gon get cremated, and the Queen and all that celebrate. They have a party. They get wrecked. That's the end. That's basically Star Wars 1 in quite a short amount of time. There you go. You've not seen it before.